The following is an original A Livin' podcast.
Boy, let me tell you something. Talladega, man. This was wild as usual, full of surprises, hard racing. But on the flip side of things, we had way too many wrecks, way too many close calls, way too many cars on their lid.
Ironically, way too many flips.
Yeah, that's what I was bringing up. But we're gonna talk about all that on our 37th edition of GTN, as we're gonna be reviewing Talladega. As always, I'm your host, Mr. Elijah Leonard. To the left, that is Wyatt Walker. Nathan Stapleton, of course, not here because he's working on NR stuff, most likely. But Talladega, let's go ahead and get on down into it with the Xfinity side. And the Xfinity side, from what I've seen from the highlights, was nowhere close to tame whatsoever.
At least in the first half, it was tame. It was pretty tame. The racing was pretty good. It was, you had like the usual. It was a whole about RCR led most of it. We're the main two leaders in that group. Let me see if I find. Brett Moffitt had a good run up in the front for a good little while. He led some good laps. I'm trying to think who else was involved, but I'd say a couple of those big ones took out pretty big heavy hitters.
Huge heavy hitters at that. One of the worst ones that I've seen, of course, was there's two things in that one wreck. First of all, Dexter Stacy, hard hit into the inside wall. Luckily, he was okay. However, couldn't 100% say the same for Blaine Perkins because he went for a nasty ride down the back straightaway. Luckily, fortunately, he was okay, but he was transported to a local medical center for further evaluation. But he is awake and alert. He's moving around. He's talking.
He's actually released.
Good.
He actually was released yesterday. By the time of recording, it's on Wednesday. On Monday, as we're recording this, he was released yesterday on Sunday. I saw somewhere that he was released.
Good. But yeah, great to see Blaine Perkins was okay. But then, I mean, of course, as the race went on, we start to get to the end. Oh my gosh, man. They were really going for it. Apparently, they went a little too hard. And that saw another flip. This one involving Daniel Hemrick, and there was a bunch of other cars. Let's see, of all those that were involved in lap 110 with the big one with 2 to go. We're coming to 2 to go. Lap 110, we got, let's see, in that 110 category, Hemrick, of course, Ryan Sieg, Riley Herbst, Gralla, Chandler Smith, Josh Bilicki, Derek Kraus, who was also involved. He ended up failing the damaged vehicle policy. There was a lot.
I'm trying to look through people who I think another notable member was Austin Hill.
Oh yeah, Austin Hill.
Austin Hill was involved in that one. I could see. Let's see. I think Clements was involved in that too. There was a good amount of people. It's hard to remember every single person that was involved, but it was crazy. And we've had some crazy incidents happen even before that. We mentioned like Dexter Stacy and Blaine Perkins.
Kaz Gralla, let's bring him up. Gralla had a pretty scary moment in the wreck that involved Dexter Stacy and Blaine Perkins. One of the tires from Blaine Perkins' car, I think it was the right rear, came loose, came off, and was flying through the air. And Gralla hit that tire. The impact was right around the windshield area. and that tire it kept bouncing, it kept flying. But
Yeah.
Gralla, I think he said, yeah, he definitely was very, very fortunate that it did not break through the windshield. So, I mean, that was a scary moment for Gralla. But there was some other moments you wanted to bring up?
I'd say a couple of incidents. I'd say one, if I remember correct, Brandon Jones spinning Sammy Smith into that inside wall on the back stretch. Good thing he's okay. Let's bring up the junior motorsports fiasco
No.
when all when three of the junior motorsports cars. There's one more. I do not remember who it was that was involved in Tuba.
Wasn't it Brandon Jones? Or because I see here
No,
Allgaier.
No, it wasn't Brandon Jones.
I see Allgaier, Sam Mayer, Josh Berry all lined up in the same order. So
there was one more person involved in that wreck. It wasn't Brandon Jones.
it was somebody.
One. I think it was a caller car. I think Kraus was there. I
Maybe
do not remember.
Maybe that's the guy you're talking about. I
Because
think.
Kraus was involved. Because Kraus was involved in that little pileup being a lone call-it car. But all in all, the racing was crazy. And how about the winner?
Yeah, that was that's right up there. That is right up there.
The most ironic thing about this win, the team owner was in a scary wreck at Talladega last fall in the Truck Series. Was all healed up, came back as an owner for not only Burton but Parker Retzlaff, who finished top 10, by the way. Both those cars finished in the top 10. Great day for the team, especially at a wild Talladega race.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Retzlaff was involved in an incident in the beginning.
Oh yeah.
But even then, coming out is like having his team get not only a win for the team, their first ever win for the whole company, if I'm not mistaken, in NASCAR.
Yes, actually, you are correct. That is their first win as an organization.
And it is great that it is actually Jeb Burton that won it for them and officially got the checkered flag, by the way, in the Xfinity Series.
This time he got it. Officially. Crossing the line instead of waiting in the rain.
I will say this, and Colleague screwed up when they did this.
Yeah.
Jordan Anderson, do not let Jeb Burton go.
I honestly do not see Jordan Anderson releasing Jeb Burton anytime soon, because you hear the post-race interview for Jeb. Jeb said that those guys made racing for him fun again. So if he's making positive comments like that, I don't see Jeb going anywhere anytime soon.
Jeb Burton has found a good place. He's racing pretty good. I thought that number really suited him at an Hour Motorsports, and bringing it with him to Jordan Anderson and actually winning with that number works pretty well.
I also feel like it's more special too, because if you go back to the 90s, his dad Ward also drove that number in the Xfinity Series way back when.
I actually did not remember that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is true. And it's still amazing. And just looking up, I know you're about to go over the top list, but looking over this list, this ain't a normal top 10.
No.
I mean, you have a few notable drivers, which, by the way, we'll get this out of the way. Cole Custer, your Dash for Cash winner.
Yes, absolutely. So wasn't
because
this
by
their
default?
first dash for cash race this year?
No, this is a second,
I-
third.
I
Maybe it
had
was the third
no
Dash
idea.
for Cash.
If it's their second or third, I had no idea they had started the dash for cash.
Yeah, they started back in Richmond.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I
They
had
had
nothing.
them on. I'm trying to remember who all was involved in the Dash for Cash. I know Allgaier was. He won. He won the damn thing. Then the Nemechek did. I have to go back. I'll have to go back and look. I don't remember who's all in it. Actually, the easiest way for me to figure that out. Hold on.
The easiest and the best way to figure things out. Looking it up.
Yep. If it will not be slow.
Amen.
Because I think it went off the race prior to Okay, yeah, it was Chandler Smith was in the next one. Okay, let's see. Okay, by looking at this, it looked like it was for the Dash for Cash first time. It looked like it was Sammy Smith, Justin Allgaier, Daniel Hemrick, and Sam Mayer going into Richmond.
Mm-hmm.
Then after Richmond, Allgaier won the Dash for Cash.
Okay.
And then he won that by being the highest finisher, which he finished 13th and still ended up being a top finisher. That's funny. Then the next group was Chandler Smith, John Hunter Nemechek, and Josh Berry, which Nemechek won it.
Okay.
Nemechek won the Dash for Cash at Martinsville.
Okay. Yeah.
And then then after that Martinsville, we had Nemechek, Sammy Smith again, Cole Custer, and Josh Berry for Talladega.
And then Cole Custer took that one.
By default, when all the other ones crashed.
No, go.
I think this is going to be the final Dash for Cash, if I'm not mistaken.
No. So is this next one coming up at Dover?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think this is the final one. And the eligible drivers are now Jeb Burton, Sheldon Creed, Parker Klingerman, and Cole Custer.
Good deal.
Talking about Parker was I knew he was going to be good at super speedways.
Dude, yeah. I mean, the writing was on the wall. I mean, look at the success that he's had over the last 5 years apart. In 2012 and 2017 at Dega. Yeah, sure. Those wins might have fallen into his lap, but you can't deny the fact that he is a pretty prolific super speedway racer in his own right.
Not to mention a good racer in general.
Absolutely.
Like he's
hey, look at Mid Ohio last year. That one he whooped everybody. Absolutely whooped everybody.
Not to mention, even after the Talladega shakeup, he is still in the top 12 in the play. We'll talk more about the points, but he is still in the top 4 despite Jeb Burton winning.
Yeah.
He is still in the playoffs. I see him holding that last spot and making it in the playoffs. I would love to see Parker Klingerman. I will be dead ass honest. I don't see Parker winning a championship, but it would be so amazing to see him in the playoffs. I would be so happy.
It'd be interesting to see him win the championship, though. That'd be the most underdog championship win I would have seen in a long time.
It would be amazing.
So, one more thing before we go over the finishing results for the Xfinity side. Yeah, we spent about 15 minutes doing this, but it's okay. There's a statement that was released by Blaine Perkins as of 6:42 p.m. on the 24th of April, by the time that we are pre-recording this. His statement goes like this: I'm back home in North Carolina and recovering very nicely. I want to express my gratitude to everyone for their support. To my team at R Motorsports, thank you for building safe race cars, which is great. To NASCAR and the AMR safety crew, thank you for being on it so quickly. To the staff at UAB University Hospital, thank you for taking such good care of me and being so hospitable to my family during my stay. And most importantly, to the NASCAR fans, you're the greatest fans in the world. Your thoughts and prayers are very much appreciated, and I cannot wait to be back behind the wheel of the number 02 again soon. So, this is just a big-ass thank you, which is, can't go wrong with that. Cannot go wrong with that. So, now to the finishing results. They go as follows. Now this, as you mentioned, is a crazy looking top 10. So, but we're not gonna be able to get used to this once we go to Dover. But here it is: Jeb Burton, the winner. Sheldon Creed, so close, but he'll have to settle for second again. Parker Kligerman, third. Cole Custer, fourth. Brendan Poole, fifth. Cesar Baccarella in the sixth position. Parker Redsloff, seventh. Greg Gaulding, eighth. Joey Gase, ninth. Josh Williams completing the top 10.
Josh Williams, the big name of the Xfinity Series this year.
The most popular guy. The most popular guy in Xfinity right now. Finished inside of the top 10. Now, 11th through 20th goes as follows. In this order: Ryan Ellis, not bad. Brett Moffitt, CJ McLaughlin, Brandon Jones, Kyle Sieg, whom I really wish coulda, woulda, shoulda gotten the win, but oh well, 15th, you can't go wrong with that. Garrett Smithley, Ryan Truex, Austin Hill, Jeremy Clements, and Joe Graff Jr. completed the top 20, and then from 21st down to 30th, Daniel Hemrick, Ryan Sieg, Riley Herbst, Kaz Gralla, Chandler Smith, Josh Bilicki, Derek Kraus, Justin Allgaier, Sam Mayer, and Josh Berry. That is your top 30. And then the final 8 finishers: Jeffrey Earnhardt, John Hunter Nemechek, Sammy Smith, Blaine Perkins, Dexter Stacy, Jade Buford, Anthony Alfredo, and Parker Chase, who went out of the race on lap 37 due to an accident, but ended up failing the damaged vehicle policy.
Now, the one thing to mention here, from 21st down, we're all involved in an accident.
Yeah, yes. All of those guys. Alrighty. And now, let's talk about the Cup Series. This one was a little bit more calm, but it still wasn't as clean as past Talladega races with this next gen car, but definitely cleaner than the Xfinity race from the day before. That's for sure. Some people, I feel, for whatever reason, they'll look at what happened, like all the wrecks that happened at the end of the race, and they'll just go, oh, man, this race was a wreck fest, because they keep forgetting there's like 185 more laps before the final 3 laps. You get what I mean? They always take a look at the end of the race where there's the most chaos that happens, and they just lump it with all the rest. It's like, well, how long did you think this race lasted? Do you think it lasted from like 3 during the day till about 3 a.m.? No, they're not going to do that. Talladega doesn't even have lights. Not yet, at least. But no, Cup of Talladega. Let's go over it, man. This, by far, was a really good Talladega race. despite the finish, I didn't like the way that the finish unfolded. But you can't can't go wrong with a winner. Obviously, you cannot go wrong with a winner. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
This was a pretty way calm than usual Talladega for Cup Series side, and we didn't really have anyone out of the race until stage 3.
Yeah,
which was impressive.
That it was really impressive that we went this long, that without anybody going out, all the way up until. Well, let's bring up lap 2 for a second because Michael McDowell. Man, we all thought Michael McDowell was going to have himself a good race. A great, clean race. Wasn't the case. He had a mechanical issue in the right rear on lap 2, and he struggled ever since. But props to him. He finished the race 7 laps down. Correct me on that. 7 laps down. 6. Sorry. No, yeah, 7. I'm right.
Which that was a tough day for him. And then the next thing to add on was pit road was a hassle.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That was pit road, especially for the first 2 groups that came in. First of all, I think the first issue to take place.
First and third.
Tyler Reddick had a late commitment going into the pits, but he was coming in with a full head of steam. He cut across a few other cars and then lost control. And then he ended up hitting the wall, but he still managed to keep going. No yellow for that. He made it to pit road. He got the car straightened out, got his pit service done, and whatever other repairs he needed, and he went back out. Then, was there really a second or a third? I mean, I remember Reddick and Briscoe.
No, I meant like groups.
Oh, well, I can't remember which group Briscoe was in, but Briscoe was
in the Ford group after the Toyotas, which had Tyler Reddick with that. There was the Chevy group that had.
Yeah.
I cannot remember all the teams on there. I just know the 4 teams that stayed out when Briscoe was going on pit road. I think he had the same thing, somewhat similar thing happen to Tyler Reddick, and apparently he broke something because his car kept doing donuts.
He couldn't go. He couldn't go. That's when the yellow came out. But that was most of the pit road incidents. But then we get.
By the way, he finished top 5.
Yeah. Thankfully, his car wasn't broken enough to where he'd be off the pace and not able to recover the rest of the way. But then we get to stage 3. Stage 3 was a doozy. Let me tell you something about stage 3. Stage 3 was chaotic. First we had. Well, one of the first things that got set off was Harrison Burton had himself a great day. A fantastic race going for him. He ended up getting pushed wrong by Noah Gragson, who also was having a great day. Turns Harrison Burton unintentionally because of the placements of where Burton was getting pushed, especially going into the corner since they went over a tunnel that apparently had some bumps. Burton spun. Fortunately, was able to keep going. However, Joey Logano.
Contact was made in the back.
Yes. So Joey Logano got into Zane Smith, whose car then shot right, and then doored Austin Dillon, squeezed him into the wall, and then it just calamity from there. I think Austin Hill got a little bit of damage from that as well.
Austin Hill was involved at the very end.
But he managed to continue. Austin Dillon, it was a question mark for us if he would keep going or not, but he pulled it back behind the wall. Austin Hill kept going. I already said that, didn't I? Zane Smith, of course, took his car back behind the wall. So he had so much front end damage, there was no way he was going to continue. But
Harrison Burton took his car behind the wall.
Yeah, it was.
We were kind of hoping that the Burtons would sweep.
Yeah, we were hoping that there was a spider that kept crawling all over my screen, and then, anyways, but no, we were really hoping that we would have a Burton sweep, but it took all the way up until lap 183 to have ourselves a wreck that would eventually set off overtime. Overtime. We love overtime, don't we? No, Wyatt. We love overtime. Especially at plate tracks. Right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So had a couple incidents that's set off overtime. One of which was a wreck in turn 2. Can't remember everybody that was involved, but I believe Harrison Burton was one of them. He ended up losing control of his car. He hit the inside wall, and that pretty much was all she wrote from there.
I think Logano was involved in that one. I cannot remember. We're watching these, and it's like, we watch them, it's amazing, and then like when we're trying to look back, it's like, what all just happened? So we lose the memory.
I don't understand. But no, yeah, that's stuff like that happens. But we get to our first overtime. That's that's what I remember solely. The Noah Gragson, man, I thought he was gonna have a shot. We all did, but it was a push that went wrong. That, it was a push that went wrong going into turn number 1 on the restart. And then Ross, I'm not sure if he moved Gragson out of the way or just decided, you know what, I'm just going to squeeze into the middle. Why don't we do that? And it just causes calamity from there. Gragson ended up losing control. He went into the wall. Kyle Larson got collected. But the worst hit from that, of course, Ryan Preece, we saw it in his in-car, hit the passenger side door of Larson's car very hard, so hard that it messed up the roll cage in Larson's car, and it banged up Ryan Preece pretty good. We saw the in-car cameras of that, and that was wild, man. That's definitely got to be one of the hardest hits I've ever seen. To ever do damage to any other driver's like roll cage, pretty much, I think ever or in a long, long time. I don't recall anybody's roll cage getting damaged as much as Larson's did. But
yeah, are those two okay? I haven't really heard anything about Larson. If those two are all right or not.
I haven't either, but I know Ryan got out of his car. Preece is okay. But as far as as far as Kyle Larson, I haven't heard anything. I'm assuming that he's okay too, because if he was injured, we would have already gotten a statement from him, or from Bob Pockrass or from Hendrick Motorsports. Yeah, that's probably what we would have gotten. But nonetheless, it's good to see both of those drivers are okay. They walked away for the most part, and let's get to the final restart. I can't seem to think of anything else to say, but right off the bat on the final restart, Ty Gibbs ran out of fuel. I thought that was going to cause a yellow, but luckily he managed to get out of the way and just enough to where he wouldn't be a problem. Of course, everybody was pushing pretty aggressively. Bubba took the white flag. Blaney had a run. Yeah, there was 2 blocks thrown by Bubba, but there was no triple blocking that was going to occur, and that caused Bubba Wallace to lose control of his car. The big one ensued, of course, that ended the race. Keselowski was involved, so was Allmendinger. Truex was involved, so was, I believe, Austin Cindric. There was a good chunk of drivers that were involved, but the one guy that we're going to be talking about here, the man, Kyle Busch, happened to be in the right place at the right time, and he walks away with his second win of the season, his first multi-win season since 2021, and that's big.
And to add on to this, apparently there was supposed to be miscommunication between Kyle Busch and Randall Burnett between who should have him in the pit or not. That miscommunication got Kyle Busch the win.
That was a blessing in disguise right there. And I'm kind of happy that it was, because man, I think McLaren's Sports Grills was I think that was their first race with Kyle.
Yeah.
And they won in their first try with Kyle Busch.
And I think it's pretty cool. It's like, I'm not a huge Kyle fan, but it's like I was like, yeah, he earned this. I'm not sure he earned it, but it's like it's definitely good to see him get a win. And I find this ironic. His last win at Talladega was in 2008. He's driving in 8.
15 years later.
Another irony.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not thinking about it. He joined Joe Gibbs Racing in 2008. Now he joined a new team in 23. He won Talladega in the number 8.
That's nuts, man. Let's see.
I'm
sensing something here. Let me look at Racing Reference, because the first race that he had with Joe Gibbs, he won Atlanta. But let me see what spot. Okay, so Atlanta that year was the 4th race of the season. Fontana this year, of course, was the 2nd.
Didn't he win Atlanta first?
Yes, he did. But I was checking to see when Atlanta on the schedule, when Atlanta was on the schedule, and it was the 4th race.
It should have been like the 4th.
It was
4th race.
Yeah, I'm looking at Racing Reference. So Kyle's first win that year was Atlanta. That was their 4th race of the season. His second win, ironically enough, came at Talladega that year. This year, first race. His second race with RCR, his first win with RCR, came at Fontana. That was the 2nd race of the season. Then this year, his second win with RCR came at Talladega. This year.
Keep in mind, that year, Kyle Busch won about damn near almost the same race as Carl won 2008. Which I'll get to him later on. But
won 8
Kyle
races.
Busch won Kyle Busch won 8 ironically.
How ironic. Yeah, 8 races in the year 2008, the first year that he joined Joe Gibbs. Here is his stats for that year. 8 wins, 17 top 5s, 21 top 10s, 2 poles. Out of 10,312 laps completed, he led 1,673. But that doesn't matter. His average finish that year was a 12.5. Not bad. But that's just getting started.
My thing on this is that year Kyle Busch won 8 races.
Yeah.
That was a dangerous Kyle Busch. We may have a dangerous Kyle Busch on our hands that's repeating something that happened 15 years ago.
Could Kyle Busch get a second wind?
Who knows?
Well, we're gonna find out. But here we go with our finishing results. The top 10 for this one, just as wild and kind of odd looking, just like of how the Xfinity race was.
I say one is out of place.
One.
In my mind, I see one that's out of place.
A little, but here we go. Of course, Kyle Busch is the winner. Ryan Blaney coming home in the second position. Chris Buescher in third. Chase Briscoe fourth. Brad Keselowski rounding out the top five. Eric Jones sixth. William Byron seventh. Christopher Bell eighth. Daniel Suarez ninth. Todd Gilliland in the third Front Row Motorsports car completes the top 10.
Hold on, before you move on, this is the guy that Front Row wanted to have Zane Smith run a few races as? That's his car? He's the top guy.
Yeah,
he's the top finisher of that team, and he drove a third car for him.
Yeah. Oh man, Front Row Motorsports, what are you doing?
Todd Gilliland should stay.
Easily, 100% agree with that. I feel like what Front Row Motorsports should do if they bring Zane Smith to Cup full time, of course, yeah, like sign Zane Smith, but start up a third team for Todd, like so that way Todd still has a team to go to.
Yeah.
And either put him in the 36 or 38. Like, have a toss-up between the both of them. But I feel, though, Todd, I don't mind him in the 36, but he looked way better in the 38, though.
I just thought of something that's like, it's not going to happen, but if none of the Stewart-Haas guys are good, just imagine Todd Gilliland in number 4.
Oh my gosh. Man. I'll tell you what. Maybe somebody like David Gilliland would have a field day with that announcement. He would try to get his team switched back to Ford, so that way he could probably get an alliance with SHR. So that way he could try to get his Xfinity team started up as well for his own team, Tricon Garage.
But if anything, Todd Gilliland I think should stay in the 38, mainly because his dad, David Gilliland, drove the 38 the whole time he was racing.
Easily, yeah. That for most of his career. David Gilliland was in the 38. But So it should be natural, but go ahead with the rest of the results. So 11th through 20th goes as follows. Buckle your seatbelts for this one. This top 20 is a little crazy. J.J. Yaley. Yes, you heard that correctly. J.J. Yaley finished in the 11th position at Talladega. That's just as wild as him qualifying third on Bristol Dirt.
Keep in mind on this, J.J. Yaley's in the 51, so he's obviously one-upping Cody Ware.
I feel like J.J. Yaley's going to be staying in that 51 for a while.
Exactly.
Chase Elliott, of course, 12th. Alex Bowman, 13th. Ty Dillon got 14th. Yay! Good deal.
He screwed up your stay away.
I'm kind of glad he did. Oh man, I didn't have much faith in him, but by golly, he turned it around. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. until we get to Dover. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. of course 15th. Tyler Reddick 16th. He had damage on the right front, and he still managed to come home inside of the top 15 or top 20.
Pretty good day for Tyler Reddick.
Not bad. Good turnaround. Denny Hamlin 17th. BJ McLeod coming home in the 18th position. Justin Haley 19th. Riley Herbst in his second Cup start, unfortunately, was not able to best his career best from the Daytona 500, but not a bad showing nonetheless. He comes home top 20. From 21st down to 30th, they go in this order. Kevin Harvick in 21st, then it's Eric Almirola, Ross Chastain, Austin Hill, Corey LaJoie, Austin Cindric, Martin Truex Jr., and I got to bring this up. Did you see in the background? Yeah. did you see? Did you see Cindric's tweet?
Comment. I did see that tweet. I thought that was funny. It's like,
That
good race photo finish with me and Martin Truex Jr. for 26.
for 26. That was great. I loved that tweet. But yeah, Bubba Wallace 28th after his gutsy blocks, but unfortunately not good enough blocks that led to him throwing his Hans device down into the grass. AJ Allmendinger 29th and Joey Logano rounding out the top 30. And then from 31st down to 38th.
Before you mention these, I just want to give this heads up real quick. The next two people you're about to mention, I know you don't like them, but you got to give them props. The rookies really were showing. Yes, it's Talladega, but the rookies were showing up.
No, they did. I mean, I have Ty Gibbs, first of all, 31st. Can't deny it. As much as I can get really salty about him, I cannot deny that, he actually did put up a good fight at especially at a place like Dega. Noah Gragson, he's not a guy that I get salty about, but he also had a pretty good showing all the way up until the very bitter end. Then our final six finishers from 33rd down to 38th. Kyle Larson, Ryan Preece, Michael McDowell, Harrison Burton, Zane Smith, and Austin Dillon, who went out of the race with Zane Smith on lap 141. So, pretty crazy Talladega weekend, to say the least. As the per usual.
But now let's look over the points real quick. Now, start off with the Xfinity Series with Jeff Burton moving up, and he was below the cut line, so one person got booted down to the bottom. But we'll come back to him real quick. A lot of drivers went from being close to 90 down to 60. Not even 60 the highest, so. So, Austin Hill's still the person with 3 wins. John Henry Nemechek's with 2 wins. Here's what I find interesting. Chandler Smith is the top leader with the 1 wins, but Jeff Burton is second. Sammy Smith fell below Jeff Burton in the points. Don't know how much, but I find that kind of surprising. So now that we look over in the point, for the people who have not won yet, we have Riley Herbst, who is only up by 59. Josh Berry, 55. Justin Allgaier, 50. Junior Motorsports has not won a race yet.
That's nuts.
It is surprising that they have not won. They have been so consistent. They're close to getting a win, so it's coming.
Yeah.
Cole Custer, 42. Sheldon Creed, 39. Daniel Hemrick is up by 18. And like I mentioned before, Parker Klingerman is still in this, beating out Sam Mayer, who was originally above the cutoff ahead of Parker Klingerman. Parker is still in this by 10 points.
Oh, yeah.
Above that cut line.
Yeah.
Parker Klingerman's going to be that guy is going to sweep into the playoffs. He's not going to go far, but damn near going to be impressive.
I'd say, if I have to predict something about Parker Kligerman, I'd say the luckiest he might get is making it to round 2.
Exactly.
That's as far as I see him going. But if not, then yeah, I don't think he'll make it past the first round, unfortunately.
No. But it would be happy to see Parker Klingerman in the playoffs nonetheless. That is my goal to see out of Parker Klingerman by the end of the year now. Is get him and that team in the playoffs
No,
for the
yeah.
first time.
Yeah.
So rounding out the rest of the points, we have Sam Mayer down by 10. Brandon Jones is now down by 23. Ryan Sieg is down by 38. And Brett Moffitt is down by 53. So he has dropped significantly. And now we come over to the Cup Series side, which barely anything has changed. Few people swapped some positions, but now I messed up when we did the call. When we did our live reactions, I said he was the second person to get 2 wins. I was wrong. He's the third person because Kyle Larson won at Richmond. Became the second person to win two races.
He won. Wait, what was the second place set? It was Richmond, and then where else was it? Martinsville. That's right. Larson won at 2 short tracks this year.
You're right. I meant he won Richmond first, then Martinsville, because that was last week.
Yeah.
My mistake. Got the races backwards, but either way, still the same thing. Larson is top of the board with 2 wins. Kyle Busch is now in the middle with 2 wins, and then Byron is below the 2 wins. Then you still got Bell, Reddick, Logano, and Stenhouse are the 1 lone wins. And then you got the rest of the drivers. As Ross Chastain is up by 91. Harvick, 82. Martin Truex Jr., 52. Ryan Blaney, 47. Denny Hamlin, 43. Alex Bowman, 40. Brad Keselowski, 38. Chase Briscoe, 14, ironically. Then Chase. Then Chris Buescher rounds out the 16 field with plus 11. Then in the cutoffs, we have Daniel Suarez that's down by 11. Austin Cindric down by 27. Michael McDowell down by 38. And Ty Gibbs down by 41.
Yeah, the Ty Gibbs running out of fuel definitely screwed him up a little bit. I feel like if he had come down maybe about shortly after the wreck that set off that overtime chaos, he would have been okay. I feel like he would have been good to go for the end, but would it still have taken out of his chances of possibly winning or getting a good finish? Yeah, but especially if it's towards the end of the race, like, you got to do something, right? Even if it means running yourself out of fuel, especially coming to the restart. So, I mean,
here's a couple things I want to point out and stuff. First off, Christopher Bell is leading the point standings right now, 12 to Ross Chastain. But keep in mind on this, like I mentioned before, Ty Gibbs is only 41 above the cut line. Listen to the next 2. And I think the second one will surprise you. Bubba Wallace is only down by 49 behind Ty Gibbs. And Todd Gillen is down by 51.
Mm-hmm.
Todd Gillen is slowly making his way up there.
He's got time. Slowly but surely, he's going to get up there and start mixing things up. I mean, one way or another, if Todd Gillen, I mean, especially with most of the starts that he has with Front Row right now, can get up there instead of the top 20 and start shaking things up, maybe get some good runs at other places that we know probably for sure that he'd be good at, Todd Gilliland is a dark horse to get in. Legitimately a dark horse.
Here's a question. Is Chase Elliott a dark horse to get in? Because he is still currently 100. If he don't get a win, which I know it's highly unlikely, Chase Elliott is really fast. He'll get a win eventually. But if he doesn't, he is currently 120 points below the cut line.
I don't see Chase Elliott as a dark horse, honestly. In fact, like as you mentioned, it's likely Chase Elliott will win. When will he win? Nobody knows. I mean, he's still fresh back into the car since his injury. I'd say give him a little bit of time to, get used to things again, which I'm pretty sure he already is, but it might take him a little bit longer. But I'd say, if anything, I wouldn't consider Chase Elliott a dark horse. He'll win. He's gonna win somewhere. I don't know where though, but if he wins Dover, then hey, more power to him.
And that is going to shake up the playoffs.
Oh yeah,
it's going to shake up the points.
That would shake things up big time for sure. Okay. Well, I'd
say I don't know if we have any news, but I want to say this, and I mentioned this earlier. This ain't huge news or something we usually talk about a lot, but my boy Carl Edwards, on the stream, I saw somewhere that he did something with Kenny Wallace and he refused to be one of the top 75 drivers.
Mm-hmm.
I was happy when I got a notification to find out that my boy is now one of the 75 drivers. We talked about some of the drivers that are now involved in this that are kind of current, like Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson.
Yeah.
I'm probably missing a few if there's correcting. Recently on yesterday when this is being pre-recorded. And there's probably a couple of others that are going to be a pretty good surprise when they come out tomorrow. Our recording is tomorrow, and when this video airs on Wednesday.
Yeah.
But Jeff Burton is in, but Carl Edwards, I was worried because he told Kenny that he declined that offer.
Yeah, as far as what I heard, yeah, from what you were telling me, which was very unusual, to say the least, because you would have thought, like, man, like, Carl Edwards, in the modern era of drivers that have not won championships, he was like the modern-day Mark Martin. And
ironically, he was his teammate at one point.
Exactly. Which is insane to me of how, like, it would have been criminal for Carl Edwards to not accept being a part of the 75 greatest drivers list, because Carl Edwards definitely fit the mold, like, very, very easily, even if he didn't win a championship at all.
Granted, and I'm being totally non-biased saying this, I can wholeheartedly agree as a fan, and I can admit this as a man too. Carl Edwards is not the GOAT. He is one of the greatest drivers, but he's not the GOAT.
No.
The GOATs, in my opinion, are the 3 7-time champions. Those are the GOATs. Now, everyone can argue who's the GOAT, who's the main GOAT of all of those.
Oh, man, I'm telling you, that is a debate that is still going on to this very day.
But it is no doubt that Carl Edwards is one of the greatest drivers, who, like you mentioned, has not won a championship. He's won an Xfinity championship.
Yeah.
He has won an Xfinity championship, so he does have a NASCAR championship. It's not a Cup Series, which he was close to winning 4. Could have had a chance to win 4 different times, or won 4 times.
In my opinion, he should have won the two where he should have won 2011, 2016.
Agreed.
Those two he should have had in the bag.
Agreed.
Because listen, 2011, yeah, he only won one race, but he was consistent all year long in 2011. But of course,
the only reason he didn't
tiebreaker.
The only reason, not only tiebreaker, Tony Stewart had a breakout playoffs.
Yeah, he did.
And keep in mind, I didn't watch NASCAR around this time. I just got in at like late 14, early 15. But I've done my research on my boy, and he's actually one of the drivers that got me into it. Which the backstory on that I'm not getting into. It's a stupid story. I think I've told him how I found out his name and laughed so hard, and that's why he became my driver. But I'm not getting into that. Probably a different story time. But
no, yeah,
with him, he got me involved. Edwards got me involved, and I became a fan of his. And he's been the driver he's my main guy.
No, yeah. But yeah, 2016, yeah, definitely. That's another year, as I mentioned before.
That was bullshit.
That one was pretty BS because he dominated that race. Absolutely dominated. That's one where he coulda, woulda, shoulda, more so shoulda had that in the bag. But
I don't want to say maybe. Well, all those four he could have won at.
Yeah,
I think another one, my opinion, actually 08 should have. He had more wins. Didn't he have more wins than anyone that season?
I think he did. Let me take a look at Racing Reference.
I know, he had 9 wins. I know you mentioned that Kyle Busch only had 8, but I think him and Jimmy were tied. Something. Jimmy got the championship that year, but Carl should have gotten that one. And 05 was a breakout season for Carl Edwards.
Yeah. So his stats for 2008 were as follows: 9 wins, 19 top 5s, 27 top 10s, had an average finish of 9.5. 9.5.
Carl Edwards really should have won more championships than he's right now. He should have won championships.
Yeah.
He really should have. But kind of sucks. And if y'all know, my @ on stuff is CE19. If you haven't figured it out yet, the CE is my boy. Is my boy Carl.
Mm-hmm.
I base my name off of him. That's how much he's shown much to me. And granted, it should have been 99, but the 19 just seems so much better. It just fits my name a whole lot better, has a better ring to it. As much as I like the OG number to 99.
Oh, yeah.
But either way, he deserves to be in the top 75. I know we don't usually talk about any of the drivers, but I just had to bring this up because of what I read yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
While recording. So I had to bring this up, and I'm just happy.
I'm happy to see that as well. I mean, that was definitely a long time coming for sure. Okay. I do believe that is all the breaking stories that we do have as far as from what I could see. So let's go ahead and preview Dover. The first race, first race weekend on the Monster Mile. And
sorry about that.
Got a little phone call going on over there. But Corey Haim's in the 24 for the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, he's making his Xfinity debut.
Good. So, of course, let's see. Oh, Chad Chastain's in the 91.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Carson Hocevar officially making, well, I wouldn't say officially making his debut, but he's bringing the Spire 77 to life at Dover.
Yeah, that's right. That's right because he made his debut at Coda, didn't he? Replacing a driver.
Yeah, he did. I think it was. Wasn't it? Who was that he replaced?
Was it Josh Williams? I don't think.
No. It wasn't. That was Alex LeBay. That took his spot. I don't even know who he replaced that year. Who was in the 07 or the 08? No, it was I can't remember. I don't even know who's in the 07 at that point.
Maybe it was the 07.
It has to be the 07.
We'll have to go back and look.
Yeah.
We'll have to go back and look at that another time. I actually think I could pull that up here real quick, but other than that, yeah, see if I can see anyone else in these.
But yeah, other than that, the Monster Mile. First trip here this year. And, man, I don't even, I feel like we're going to probably start to see the same stuff.
Brendan pulled in the 15.
For Cup, yeah.
Well, I didn't start to interrupt you, but I just didn't expect that one.
Surprise! I saw that before we even started. But yeah. So Dover, what are we looking at?
Dover is going. We're watching out for a Miles the Monster. That track's a fat one. Is one of the fast half miles, but gotta be careful about because Miles will come after you.
Mm-hmm. Miles is always hungry.
I'm disappointed in who's not in the race.
I'm disappointed Jimmy's not in there. Man, that sucks.
If anyone needs to be in that race, it's Jimmy Johnson. He has won there 11 times. His last win came at Dover in 2017.
Yeah.
Jimmy Johnson should have been in this race.
Yeah, I feel like he definitely should have been in this race for sure, but eventually we'll digress, but we know I know for sure he's going to be in the Coke 600. I think that was one of the races he did announce that he was going to be in.
North Wilkesboro too.
Yeah, that's right. He'll be at North Wilkesboro.
Is he in this race? No,
but I don't think there's anything else we really need to discuss when it comes down to previewing Dover, because we all know how it is. It's Miles the Monster. Miles is always hungry. He's always going to chew up cars. He's going to eat them up, chew them up, spit them out. But we know one thing for sure. Somebody's going to win on the concrete. And
he was in the 07.
Who was it?
Kosovar was in the 07.
No, yeah, he was. I'm just wondering who he replaced. I think it was Blaine Perkins.
No, was it Blaine Perkins? No, was it? Who was it? He was a rookie. I think it took his name off too.
No, it was somebody.
No, he was not a rookie.
Wait, hold up.
It was Blaine Perkins.
Really?
He was making a full-time run for SS Green Line, but then they parted ways.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right. That was the weekend where they let him go.
And Bailey Curry's not even full-time in the 4 either. I don't know why I still have him up here either. I just realized that I need to take those two off this list, but yeah. But yeah, I was trying to think. I thought it was Blaine Perkins because I was happy he got a ride.
At the very least, yeah.
But
okay.
That sucks.
let's get on down to our predictions. Of course, as we mentioned, it's just Xfinity and Cup. Trucks will be off for a little while longer. I think the next time we see them will be the 12th, May 12th.
Trucks will be next week.
Oh yeah, that's right. May 6th. To
Trucks
Kansas.
will be next. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's when Xfinity's taking a week break.
That's right. Okay. So, for our predictions, we give you a driver who we think is going to win. That's simple. Driver to stay away from is the guy that hasn't been doing well the last couple of weeks, or we're just coming up to a racetrack where they suck at. The dark horse is the exact opposite, but it's Dover. It's the Monster Mile. Let's see what we got here. Wyatt, you are up first.
This one's kind of hard because you barely see the cars come here as often. So, let's see now. My dark horse for this, I think I'm going to give this to Sheldon Creed. He's been doing good lately. He got runner-up at Talladega, survived it. I'm going to go Sheldon Creed.
That's a good one.
My driver to stay away from. I don't think I've seen him do really well at this track at all. Brandon Jones.
Yeah, I don't recall him doing all that well at Dover either. He's very hit or miss.
But I will give this race to his teammate, who's won here. I do not remember if it was. I think it was last year he won this race. Josh Berry. I'm giving this race to Josh Berry.
Yeah, good deal.
For the Cup Series. I do not remember what all happened. Oh, kind of do. I forgot who won last year.
Last year, I think it was Chase Elliott.
I want to say it was Chase Elliott.
I think it was Chase that one.
I don't think.
Let me see. I got Racing Reference pulled back up. Yes, he did.
Remember.
He
it
did.
Was Chase Elliott?
Yep, he won. He won last year.
Yeah, I had a feeling it was Chase Elliott. I'm gonna go with this. My dark horse is Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain has a fast car. He's doing pretty amazing. I see Ross Chastain following up and doing pretty well.
Yeah.
My driver to stay away from. Actually, I don't really see him doing this well. And I'm not even picking on him this time. Bubba Wallace. I don't think Bubba's been the best at Dover a lot lately. My driver to win? You know what? I'm being bold. We had Kyle Larson got his second win at Martinsville. Kyle Busch got his second win at Talladega. Christopher Bell get his second win at Dover. I don't know why, but I just feel like Christopher Bell. I'm just gonna go Christopher Bell, and he's won at Dover in Xfinity Series, so.
No, yeah. I 100% feel that. I feel that. So, it's my turn. So here we go with my picks for the Xfinity side. Of course, yeah, I'm gonna safe pick Josh Berry as the driver to win. I mean, let's be real here. He is a short track specialist and even a 1 mile racetrack specialist. If you want to count 1 mile racetracks as short tracks, I mean, I would. personally. But yeah, Barry is going to be my winner for sure.
Wrong button.
My driver to stay away from? Honestly, to be quite honest, I'm probably gonna say is my guy to stay away from. I'm also gonna say pick Brandon Jones. I cannot think of anybody else that could be any more hit or miss than Brandon Jones. And I feel like Brandon Jones is gonna be a big miss at Dover, but only time will tell, right?
Yep.
Now you might actually like this dark horse. I'm actually going to be bold with my dark horse here. I'm going to say Jeb Burton's my dark horse.
All right.
Listen,
All right.
I feel like with the post-race interview that he had, with him saying that Jordan Anderson Racing has made racing for Jeb Burton fun again, and that he's more focused than ever, I'd say keep your eye on that 27 once we get to Dover.
Maybe even his teammate, the rookie.
They've been getting better by the week, for sure. So, Jeb Burton. Jeb Burton is going to be my dark horse. And now it's time for the main event. The Worth, or is it the Worth? The Worth 400 at Dover. So, driver to win. It's going to be tough. I think this is going to be tough for me to actually pick a winner out of this one. I'd say for my winner... Ooh, man, this is actually going to be very, very tough. I'm going to say for my driver to win... Oh, my goodness. I think I'm going to say maybe Tyler Reddick possibly could be my driver to win.
So you're kind of going the same direction I am. You're just going Tyler Reddick.
Yeah, it's because usually it's like with the next gen car, and especially with drivers that we really, especially as the caliber of Jimmy Johnson or a Jeff Gordon or anybody that is performed like really, really, really well at Dover, it's kind of like hands up in the air like this. It's just like, man, who do you really pick? Because a lot of these guys are pretty hit or miss when it comes to Dover. So I'm taking a gamble here and saying Reddick's my driver to win, just like how I did a little while ago. I mean, driver to stay away from, Bubba Wallace. I'm doubling down on Bubba here because, to be quite honest, Bubba's another guy. Bubba is another guy that we've seen ever since he went to 2311, who's been very hit or miss. And that's a term. Those are words that I use a lot when it comes down to drivers that either can do really well or just really, 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 really kind of go overboard. Bubba Wallace being one of them. Hit or miss. Those are the words that I use. So I feel like Bubba Wallace is going to be a big miss for Dover this weekend. My dark horse, this past week's winner, Kyle Busch. Easily. With the type of year that he's been having, I cannot ignore him as a potential dark horse for this weekend, man. I mean, really. You can't ignore him at all. But those are our predictions for Dover. We've pretty much gone over everything we needed to. All the breaking stories, all the predictions, all the reviewing, previewing. Any final thoughts before we get the Dover weekend started?
Let's go to Dover. Watch out for Miles.
That's hopefully the track doesn't get blocked just like it did, ironically enough, 15 years ago. So that's gonna do it for us.
Or technically about 6 years ago.
7 actually, if you're saying 2016.
I thought that That was. Oh yeah, it was 16. That was Jimmy Johnson to start. That's right.
Yeah.
Thought that was 17. My bad.
Yeah, Jimmy brought out a backup car. They gave him all his laps back, and he won. But no, anyways, that's gonna do it for us for our 37th edition of GTN. Well, then thank you guys a lot for watching this. If you guys liked it, be sure to give it a like. And if you have not considered subscribe yet, recommend you do so in order to keep up with some fine content coming out in the near future. If you're listening to this on Spotify, be sure to hit that green follow button so that way you don't miss any audio replays that are supposed to come out on Thursday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Future me, you better get it right. But yeah, that pretty much is going to do it. On behalf of Wyatt, I'm Elijah Leonard signing out. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.
See ya.